Hey guys, this is Patrick with New City. I want to show you today how I created a daily reporting tool for free. So I was looking for daily reporting software so that we could perform daily inspections, site inspections on our construction projects. I needed a way for my inspectors and project managers to go on site, create a daily report from their phones or iPads or whatever they had, and then upload it to an online database. I also wanted to do this without spending hundreds of dollars a month because I looked at a bunch of software and looked at different options out there, and it seemed like just about everyone required a significant monthly investment, which I'm just not ready to do right now. So I went ahead and created this system inside of Airtable. So Airtable is a software that you can sign up for and you can actually get a free account. It's a database software. It starts with kind of a spreadsheet database kind of a format like you see here on my screen. You can build databases, customizations, automations, stuff like that. But I just needed a way to create daily reports, have them uploaded, and be able to view them in real time. I also needed a way for my team to be able to access this from their phone, from the job site easily. I needed something that didn't require a ton of technical expertise. I just needed something simple. So I spent some time putting this together, and I'd like to share it with you because it was a huge help for me and my team. And I think it will help you if you're looking for the same thing. So to make this for free and to use this for free, I had to do a couple things. So there's actually three softwares that I'm using to create this daily reporting system. The first is Airtable. The second is software called Document. And the third is software called Fillout. So each of these have subscription-based models. You can sign up for a subscription. You can also get the free version, which allows some functionality, enough functionality to actually use this system until you have a humongous team, which I do not have. But if you have several people who need to use this, odds are you can create this and use it for little or no money per month. So here we go. First step is I'll just show you how this thing works, okay? So first thing to note is you can see I have a grid list here. I set up a sample grid list. These are sample projects. I have daily reports that are organized by project and by date. So you can see here this is grouped by project, sample project 1, 3, 5, 6, and then dates. So I have different dates for these daily reports. You can see here there's columns and there's rows. So the rows are the records, the daily reports that have been created. The columns are data types. So you can see here the first one is report date. Then there's a update report where you can click a button to update the report if you'd like. A preparer, the person who prepared the daily report. Then the project, so sample project, the weather, discussion items, you can go through the list here. The general contractor that was on site, their labor force, start and end time, work locations, activities, subcontractors working on site, other issues, non-conforming things, inspections, contractor equipment, materials delivered, public issues, visitors, and then finally photos. And then at the very end here, you see there's a cool little button to create a PDF that I can email to whoever I want. And then there's also a checkbox here that says that this daily report has been approved by the preparer. So pretty simple. These are all the things that I typically see on a daily report. So I'll show you an example of how that looks. Why don't we just click one that I created before? And you can see here, this is a finished product. So you see the PDF document, the daily report. It's in a nice format that I like, pretty organized, has the photos at the bottom, gives you all the information that is included in that record. So the other nice thing about this is my team can pull this up from their phone. They can basically push a button on their smartphone and it pulls up a daily report form that they can fill out. And when they fill out and submit that form, it automatically creates one of these records on our Airtable account. So I can access it, they can access it, and we can refer back to it when we need to. Another thing I'll show you is some different types of views that we can view these reports in this list of records. So on the left here, we have a different type of view of the reports. You can kind of see it in condensed format, just the date, the update and PDF buttons, along with the prepare report number, and then a list of the photos. So that's a little quicker way to scroll through a bunch of reports. Another way is this gallery view, which is pretty cool. So if you look at the different reports, it has the photos on the front. You can basically scroll through all the photos. This is good if you want to walk through all the photos and try to hunt down ones that you want to pull out for any other reports or sharing with other people. So how did I create this for free? Here's the thing. You can get an Airtable account and get a professional or business account and have your whole team sign up. I think it costs anywhere from $20 to $40 a month, depending on the subscription that you select. As of right now, I think that's the pricing. But if you do that with all your team, they'll all have full access to it. They'll all be able to create records, and that's great. It'll just cost you that $20 to $40 a month per person, which you don't have to do. If you want to create a workaround, which I've done, you can. So the way I created a workaround was I created an account just for myself. I created this whole base, is what it's called, in Airtable. Then I use these buttons to link to other websites and URLs to allow my team to access this base and create new records and change the records as needed without actually having to have a full license to the software, which is all perfectly okay. And the way that Airtable is created is designed to do that. So I just wanted to create it this way as I have a growing team. And at a certain point, I might sign some more of my team up for Airtable, but right now we can do it just fine like this. And it's super simple. I'm going to go ahead and show you how I did that. So like I said, there's 3 different softwares we had to use. One is Airtable, the other is Document, and the other is Fillout. First, I'm going to show you how I set this Airtable up. Once you get an account with Airtable, you go ahead and create a new base, this is what this is called, and you start with a blank base, and you can basically create these columns as you go. So you can see here next to the column names, you see little different icons on each column. That means each of these columns is a certain type of data. This first one, the report date, it's a date column. See, it has a date there. The next one is a button column where you can create a button that's linked to a URL. The next one is just a text column. Then this one's a link to another record column. So I have another tab up here. You can see different tabs up here. One is my projects tab. I created a tab for all of my projects right here. And in my case, it's linked to my project pipeline. This is a sample one, but you can connect this to your project pipeline, meaning when you have projects that are considered active, projects that you've won, you can make this link to another record only allow you to select those active projects. So you see here, I have this link to my other tab, and it brings up the selection of projects. So I can just simply select which project this is a part of, and then it automatically groups under each project, which is pretty nice. Then I have text columns, I have long text columns. So to create this base, you just want to go through and you right click and you select insert, the type of base that you want to insert. So you can walk through this video and see what columns I've added if you want to create the same type of report. So I have report date, the report button, the prepare, the link to another record, the weather, discussion items, which is long text, general contractor short text, GC labor force, which is long text. The long text is good if you want to do things like bullet points and checklists and things like that, have formatting in it. Then start time, stop time, then work locations, activities, other activities, keep going here, subcontractor and work accounts, field issues, non-conforming materials, follow-up inspections. Most of these are long text. You can see this, the AB and then the 2 lines underneath it. And you keep going over, keep creating these columns until you get to photos. Then you have an attachment column. This is so you can attach actual photos to the report. And then photo descriptions. I have a checkbox column for approved by preparer. You can see approved by preparer. Then the PDF button, and then a report view. So this is what we're going to create from when we create our document, the button to create a PDF, we need to create a column where that actual PDF document can live. And then daily report response in case anyone has any comments to the daily report, and a date created or created time column. So go through and create those columns in your base. And then you can create another tab up here, another table, and then make that your projects table so that you can make this column link to your projects. And you can create as much information as you want on that other table, like the project's start and end date, the address, the client, the contract amount, all of those things you can put on that projects table. But I'll just say for now, just simply create that projects table, and then you can link it to the record right here. Another way you can do it is simply to just have a text box and write the project, and then you can still group it by project if you'd rather do it that way. So that is the Airtable. Now, what I also needed to do was create the document. So here is the document software. Basically, this software allows you to create PDF documents from Airtable records. And there's a lot of videos online on how to create these things. You just need to go in, create a new template, and I'll show you an example template here. When you open this up, you're going to see a blank form. You're going to see on the left-hand side content that you can create. You can create rows, columns, things like that. You can, when you click on something, it allows you to make a border around it, change the spacing, change the text, the thickness, all of that stuff. This is not a technical video on how to use Document. This is just showing you the steps I went through to make this. But there's plenty of videos, and actually if you go on the help chat in Document, the people over there are actually really helpful, and they'll help you through this, creating these forms. Really, it's not too hard. So you'll start with a blank form, and then you're just going to start going through and adding rows, putting your company over there, up there at the top. You can put this information in, the project name, location, report number, the preparer, and then you can see basically what I did is I created these blocks and then put this label here. And basically what I'm doing is I'm mirroring what's in my Airtable columns. So I'm basically taking these names here, and I'm just bringing them onto a form into a format that I like. So I just want it to be a nice format that's easy to read. You can see I created boxes. I created some spacers to make it look nice and space between the columns or between the rows, and then a photo section, and that's it. I did that. So now you're going to see here where I have the day and location, report number, all of that stuff, that I have these funny brackets with all this stuff in it. And you've got to be wondering, well, how am I going to know what to type in here? What do I do there? Well, Document is made to interact with Airtable and other software. So Airtable integrates with Document. So Document, when you're in this template and you've created this layout, what you need to do is you need to click on the integrations tool, and that's going to open up a section that allows you to link your Document account with your Airtable account. And once you integrate those, it's going to pull the data from your document, from your Airtable base to your Document template. So that's why you see this text here, because what I did was I clicked on the integrations and I said that I want to integrate my document with my Airtable. And once I did that, it showed me all of the document records or document columns that I could integrate with this form. Now, the way you connect a document form with your Airtable columns with the record information is you basically follow this format. So it's two little curly brackets and then the name of the column, basically. And the only thing you need to know is when you type in the name of the column, if there's multiple words, instead of a space between the words, you need to have an underscore. You see that little underscore there? So discussion action items, discussion underscore action underscore items. with those curly brackets. Another thing you're going to see in here that I did was, you see this $MD. This basically tells Document that you have formatting in your Airtable that you want to be shown on this document, this PDF that's going to be generated. So the $MD and then a space before your column name is going to make that column mimic the same formatting that you have in your Airtable. So you remember those long text items like discussion action items, and I have bullet points in there. I want those bullet points to show up. So if I don't do that $MD, it's just going to have my text and then no spaces, and then it's just going to be a run-on sentence. It's not going to have the bullet points. So I want the bullet points, so I add that $MD space before those columns that have the formatting. So that's what I did. I created these boxes, created the spacers. I integrated this form with my Airtable, connected it, and then I entered this text to mimic the Airtable, and I just went down the list and created this. It took a little bit of time, but once you create it once, you don't have to do it again, and it can create new documents for you. So another thing to note here for the photos section, this was a little tricky, and I had to get some input from the Document team to show me how to do this. But basically, in order to make this generate all of the photos that you took on your Airtable, you need to first create a section and then a text box that has this information in it. So it's the brackets with a $VAR, and then in quotation marks, it says image_grid quotation, and then in parentheses, $chunk photo small 2. Yeah, don't ask me why or how that works. That's just the text that a Document gave me, and that's what makes all of my photos show up. So I just had to enter in that information. Then I added a box here that says photos, added 2 more boxes here on either end, and I inserted an image block into each of these boxes. And then the next thing I did was this text below the photos, I put in this bracket, double brackets, this.0.file name, and then this.1.file name. So again, don't ask me why that works, but that's what you have to type in, and that will give you the file name of the photos that you attach, so that each photo you have will show the name of the photo. So here's an example I can show you. You're going to see these photos. Actually, this is an old example. It doesn't have the names on it yet. So there's a little bit of time to be spent in here, but once you create this template, and again, you can get help from the Document team on getting the photos to link and everything like that. But once you do this, you'll have a super cool template that you can pull up your reports with. So let's go back to the Airtable. So you'll notice there is that PDF button that allows you to create these super cool PDFs, and you'll see it mirroring that document report that we just made. The other button that I mentioned before is this update button. So let me go back to the way that Airtable records are created and updated. So like I said, after I created this Airtable base, I needed to make a way for my field team to be able to create these records. So in Airtable, there's a thing called forms. If you go onto the top of the screen here, you can see it. It says forms. If I click on forms, you can create new forms for your different bases. I have some other forms here I created for other things. But you see here, it says new daily report. So I created a new daily report form that's linked to that daily report base that we were just on. So all this is an online form that someone can click on a link, and it opens up this form for them. And then they can enter information in these different boxes. And at the bottom, click submit. And as a result, it creates a new record on this table. So when I go to the form, all I did was create new form. And then on the right hand side here, these are all the options and things you can do to create this form. So you just go to this data section, and this is where you select which fields from your Airtable base are going to be visible on the form. So all you got to do is click on the little gear icon here, and then this is a list of all those columns that we are looking at, right? So if I hover over one of these columns, you see a little eye here, and you can either show it or hide it. So right now, all of these items are shown on this form. You can see that most of them are shown. There's a handful of items here that are not shown on this form, because these are just things that I don't need my field team to fill out for me. But if I wanted to click on it and click show, then that would show up on my form. So you can see here, once those items show up, you can move them around, drag and drop them. You can make them skinny or wide. You can do all kinds of things just to make it a nice form to fill out. And then once you're ready and you want to publish that form, you can publish it, and you just click on publish form right there. And then it'll look like this once it's published. So if someone clicks on a link to this form, they'll basically have this screen come up, and they can click on that link from their phone or their computer or their tablet or whatever they want. And you'll be able to fill that out, click submit, and then it creates a record. So once I publish this and it's out on the internet, it'll give me options to share it. So if I want to share it, I can create a link, or I can embed it on something, and you can embed it on a website or something else. Another thing I can do is copy that link. So I can create different kinds of links. Anyone on the web, anyone at a domain, or anyone with base access. So what these mean is if I have anyone on the web selected, that means when I generate a link, it's going to be a link that anybody can click on and then submit my daily report form. If I select anyone at domain, I could maybe select my domain, my email domain, so anyone who's working on my team can access this form, but no one else outside of my team. And then another one is only users with base access. So that's if everyone has base access. So what I did was I've done anyone at my domain. So they don't necessarily have to have a membership to Airtable in order to submit a form. You don't have to be a member to submit a form. Frankly, you could just do a public link and only share it with your team. You can also have that link and create a shortcut on your smartphone. So if you have a smartphone, there should be a shortcuts app that's on your phone. It's with most smartphones. And you just create a shortcut and make the shortcut open a website or open a URL. You basically just copy this link and copy and paste that link into that shortcut, and then put that shortcut on your home screen. So if you have someone who's not super tech savvy, who's out in the field but needs to do daily reports, you just help them create a shortcut on their phone with this link, and they can simply click a button, and then they can fill out a report on their phone and click submit. It's that easy. So no memberships required. The next thing that I had to do was make a way for them to update a form. So because they're out in the field on a job site and they want to create a daily report, sometimes they might create a partial daily report, but then get pulled away doing something else, and they want to come back to the report later. So in order to allow them to come back to the report later, I just created a public link to the Airtable, and I did the same thing as we're doing with this form. I just push the share button on the Airtable base, and then it brings up a screen that allows me to invite people or create a link to access to allow my team to get on this base or just this view of the base. So that way they can pull it up and see it. And they don't need to have a paid account necessarily. They can just click into the base and see a copy of the base. And that also allows them to click on these buttons if they so choose. So I just created a link and a shortcut for my team to be able to access the base. That way they can come back in, and if they need to update a report, they just click this button, and anybody can click on the button that has access to the base. So they click on update, and then this brings them to a fill out form. So the fill out form is the third piece of software that I was talking about. So this form, it's another software that is a form generating software that's also linked to my Airtable. Now, the reason I couldn't just use the same form on Airtable that we're looking at over here, is because these forms by default only allow you to create a new record. They don't necessarily allow you to update an existing record. So I had to go to Fillout, because Fillout actually links with Airtable and allows you to update a record. So once I did that, I did the same kind of thing. I basically connected this Fillout form I clicked the integrate button, which connects it to my Airtable base, and then all of a sudden, all of those columns that I created on my Airtable show up on this Fillout here on the left. So you can see here's one report number, and all the other ones are already on here, so they're not going to show up on the left. But all of these things were showing up over here, and I basically just dragged and dropped those over. So I just drag and drop it over like that, easy as that. And then I can go ahead and format it. And again, if you want to make it skinnier or wider and do it in different order, move things around, you can do that. So it's pretty easy to set up. This is really fast to set up. You basically just drag and drop the items in, and there you go. And then once you publish it, you can do the same thing. You can share this form with a link. So what I did was I created the link, went back into my Airtable, and then I on this column that I created, all I had to do was make the column, the button action, open URL. That means open a website or a link. And I copied and pasted the link, the URL that Fillout gave me. So this is, there's a link that you can generate from here with the integrate button. And then it allows you to enter that link in here. And in that way, when you click this button, it brings you to that Fillout. So there's a few steps, but that's how it's done. So basically, by creating all of these things, I was able to make a way for my team to create a record, update a record, and then generate a PDF and have that PDF report contain all of my comments, all of my photos, and everything so that I could email it to people. So that's how I created this daily reporting template. So this other software I was looking at, it had, there'd be anywhere from $300 to $400 a month to $1,000 to $2,000 plus a month to create these daily reports. And we were able to create these daily reports without having to have that high monthly fee. And it's worked really well for my team, and we're continuing to use it. So I hope this helps you guys. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm not a software pro by any means. I just tried my hand at making this base and used the software available, got some insight and educated myself a little bit and got some help along the way. But now I'm giving you the roadmap on how to do it. So I hope this helps. Feel free to reach out and have a great day.